Hello everybody. I've just returned from a work trip off planet. Well, it feels like that. I've been working in Laos and I feel like an alien there. Then I come back to Thailand, where I've lived for 30 years, and I still feel like an alien. Thailand's a strange place. Sometimes it's like a parallel universe and you feel like you've stepped through a wormhole or gone through a stargate. Let's talk about actual aliens, or as in extraterrestrials. The public conversation about non-human intelligence is heating up. Are we about to be officially told they're here? Disclosure. No one knows exactly of what, but whatever it is might challenge our perception of what we are as humans, whether we are actually the apex species on the planet. Disclosure might end speculation that aliens built the pyramids and other inexplicably grand structures. That's the premise of Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. Were we visited by extraterrestrial architects? Or perhaps they're still here, sightseeing from another dimension, policing us before granting us admission to some galactic federation. Maybe they're lurking under the sea in the unexplored depths. Are we the aliens, stranded on this planet's surface and left to fester? This is, of course, the stuff of science fiction, a genre I love. My favourite sci-fi author is Iain M. Banks, whose galaxy-spanning stories feel so real that they should be true. Banks wove fiction with a metaphor about a benevolent humanistic empire, the culture, that while reliant on advanced artificial intelligence, attempts to bring its enlightened behaviour and values to the fringes of its influence. Science fiction often blends fact with fantasy, but at its core, it deals with the impact of possible technologies and explores serious philosophies, even political questions. That's why it's such a vital part of literature. Just like the question of UFOs, now rebranded as unidentifiable anonymous phenomena. Bit of a mouthful, UAPs. The UAP topic is itself split. There's the wild fantastical side, fun, but often as absurd as flat earth theories. And then there's a very serious side with potentially massive implications for humanity. Both sides deserve attention. I'm not part of the UFO community, which has ballooned into an industry of books, movies, TV series, and celebrity personalities embroiled in feuds. I'd love to discover that there really is a culture out there and that we're being initiated into it. Imagine the excitement! But I'm a skeptic. I rely on hard data and logic to reach conclusions. And so far, I don't have enough of either to form a concrete opinion about extraterrestrials or non-human intelligent life. My expertise isn't exobiology, cosmology, physics, or engineering. I don't have the answers. Instead, I'm going to give you an overview of what's happening so you can form your own judgment and opinions. Here goes. Unexplained objects in the sky and strange phenomena are nothing new. The ancients spun myths, and the clever ones realised that a good narrative about the gods could bring them power and wealth, influence, status, and eventually money. In many ways, the modern UFO phenomenon has parallels to religion, with its prophets and high priests. Take Bob Lazar, for example. He claimed to have worked on reverse engineering alien technology from crash sites like Area 51. He's been debunked for decades, yet he has a loyal following, much like the prophets of old. Now, the Tsar's mantle has passed to people like Ashton Forbes, who's crafted a more polished narrative. He keeps the high-tech elements, but insists the technology isn't alien. Forbes believes that there's a hidden mega industry tapping into what he calls zero-point energy, a concept drawn from real quantum physics and the vacuum of space. Forbes argues that the UAPs witnessed by credible sources like US Navy Commander David Fravor are human-made artifacts. He builds on a considerable body of hard data that demonstrates that unexplainable UAPs do exist. Yes, you heard that right. The evidence for them has become overwhelming. More on that later. According to Forbes, this advanced technology is kept secret because its disclosure would disrupt society. Forbes cleverly distances himself from the alien narrative, avoiding uncomfortable questions about extraterrestrial life. He positions himself as a skeptic, but his reworked Lazar-style theory still has an air of mystery and intrigue. Maybe he's right. Despite having no formal background in physics, Forbes has amassed a following, using science jargon and some verified data to make his claims seem plausible. And people want to believe. It's a powerful lure. You see how that works? Meanwhile, on the other side of the landscape are those who've constructed entire cosmologies involving aliens, beings like the Anunnaki of Sumeria, Eric von Daniken's gods, or reptilian shapeshifters. Yet amidst the noise, there remains a serious effort to understand UAPs and search for otherworldly intelligence. This effort can be divided into two parts. Here's the first. After the famous Roswell incident in 1947, UFO sightings in the USA skyrocketed. Combined with Cold War era fears about Soviet missile attacks, the public became hypersensitive to unexplained aerial phenomena. From the start, the US government followed a policy of obfuscation, if not downright deceit. In 1953, the CIA commissioned a panel of prominent scientists, physicists, engineers, and military intelligence officers to evaluate the risk to security. The Robertson panel concluded, at least for the public, that UFO sightings pose no direct threat to the national interest, with most explained by natural or man-made causes like aircraft or planets or balloons. However, the panel saw a psychological threat in the high volume of sightings. The panel feared that the mass of reports would overcome the official channels and then be exploited by the Soviets to cause confusion. They recommended a public education campaign using media to debunk UFO reports and to reduce public fascination with the subject, aiming to reduce false reports and UFO hysteria. These recommendations shaped US government policy for decades. Following the Robertson panel, there was a concerted effort by the government, particularly through the US Air Force's Project Blue Book, to downplay the significance of UFO sightings. Public debunking of UFOs became a common practice. But as is often the case, the consequences were not as intended. The government's approach raised public distrust towards official explanations of UFOs to fever pitch, with many people feeling that the government was covering up the truth. Project Blue Book, aimed to divert public attention, itself had backfired. It was led by J. Allen Hynek. Hynek, a highly qualified scientist, was a skeptic, but his view changed as over 12,000 reports were investigated, with about 700 determined to be unexplainable. Blue Book shut up shop in 1969, but Hynek himself became so convinced that there was something worthwhile to investigate that he led a broad civil society movement that culminated in 2007 with the revelation that the US government had never stopped monitoring these phenomena. Here's a list of the US government's initiatives since then, culminating in June 2021, when the US Office of National Intelligence, the ODNI, reported on the examination of 144 UAP encounters between 2004 and 2021, mainly involving military personnel. The report acknowledged that UAPs are real physical objects that could pose a threat to aviation safety and national security. The report concluded that there was no evidence of non-human alien technology, but said that many UAPs demonstrated unusual flight characteristics that could not easily be explained with current knowledge, which is kind of a contradiction in terms, isn't it? Subsequently, Congress included provisions in the 2023 National Authorization Act to ensure UAPs continue to be investigated. Isn't that a remarkable change from when we started early with Project Blue Book? So let's not argue about the physical reality of UAPs. They exist, and it's decided they're real. What remains in question is who or what drives them. We might be on the verge of more disclosures, but that's the second line of inquiry. It'll be in part 2. If you've enjoyed this, give us a like, subscribe, and please do watch out for part 2 of this series.